a couple different systems to show, so I better get to it here.
All
If that's
righty.
okay. All right. So can you see my screen first of all?
Sure
Are
can.
we good? Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so again, yeah, thank you, John. As John said, my name is Scott Uselis. I'm the data manager in the Office of Career and Technical Education at KDE. And today we're going to talk about a couple of systems that can help you improve your programs, what you offer at your school, and so on. Right off the top, I want to say I'm not the programmer. I'm not the one that created these systems. I help provide the data, and I work with the geniuses at KY Stats that help put these together. So shout out to them. And so let's go ahead and get started. I have very few slides. It's going to be a lot of interactive showing how these systems work. So kind of just a brief agenda for today. I'm going to share a report to help guide, make informed decisions regarding the programs offered at your school. The basic question we're going to ask there is, do your programs align with your region's future demands? So is what you're offering in career and technical education aligning with what is going to be in demand in the future, according to Occupational Outlook Handbook. Number two, share work-based learning data and growth opportunity. This is a big one. In CTE, I think it's most effective when kids take the coursework and then get out in the community, get out in the classroom, and get hands-on. So I'm going to share a little bit of data about the number of kids that we have co-oping and interning around the state versus the number of kids that are eligible to do so. And spoiler alert, it's not a huge percentage at this point, but we would like to grow that as time progresses. Number three, this is a really cool resource called the Employer Connector Tool. It's an employer school connector resource that connects basically where employers in your community can actually look for qualified kids in their community. It's geocoded, so it's based upon zip code. So if you put in a zip code, it's going to share different programs in your area if you're an employer that have kids that are co-op eligible, that may be able to help you. So that's a resource many people don't know is out there, that is out there. And then finally, we're going to look at a report to help guide students to post-secondary programs to provide value and return on investment for students. That's what's called the Kentucky Student Right to Know report. Okay. So the first resource I'm going to talk about is called the CTE Feedback Report. And that is the link there. It's kystats.ky.gov/latest/CTE. This was updated last summer. There are 3 tabs: post-secondary and workforce outcomes, high school performance and training locations. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some of the things on the CTE feedback report. And then I'm going to toggle to what's called the Kentucky Future Skills Report, which is a way to gauge demand for your region for the future. So again, we're going to use these two kind of in unison. So we're going to look at the CTE feedback report, what's there, and then is it aligning? And I'm not going to go real deep into it. We don't have a ton of time here, but I'm going to show you, how you could do that. So let me end the show here, and then I am going to, let's see here. How do I, okay, hold on a sec. Is my screen sharing? Shoot.
Still seeing your
yeah,
PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm trying to, okay, stop share. There we go. Sorry about that. And I'm going to share my other screen here. All right. Okay. Hopefully, is that sharing? Are you able to see?
Yes, it is.
The career and tech feedback report. Okay, excellent. This is the interface. This is what you're going to see on the career and tech ed feedback report. So like I said, there's 3 tabs. We're going to look at 2 of them. This post-secondary and workforce outcomes is where you come on the landing page. I like this page for a couple of reasons. Many of you all, especially if you're in CTE, we deal with a lot of stereotypes that and one we hear a lot is that, CTE kids are for those other kids. They're not for kids that are actually post-secondary education material. They're not going to college. So we have to prepare them for a career. In some cases, that may be the case, but it's also the case that a lot of our kids do go to college. And I wanted to share that here. So actually what is on your screen, this is high school graduation year 2015. Okay, so these are kids that graduated in the class of 2015 that are CTE completers. CTE status is on completer. What that means is it's a kid that finished 4 or more credits in a career pathway. So if you all are in CTE, you kind of know that lingo. The completer is someone that completes a pathway, 4 or more credits. If you all see this across the state, 55.4%, more than half of kids that were CTE completers out of the class of 2015 went on to college. And that actually outpaces the all average. So slightly, it's 55.1, and I'm not going to toggle back and forth, but just trust me on that. You can go to that as well. Just wanted to make the case that, again, we hear that a lot, that they're not college material. Many of our kids are, and they are going on to college. And so I wanted to share that piece, that certainly a lot of kids are matriculating to college. But the part I really want to show very briefly here, and I hope this follows, is my screen going to the bottom here? Hopefully. Do you all see a series of dots, John?
Yes, we got it, Scott.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes my screen is behind. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you're good.
What this is, what I've toggled on to here, that was post-secondary education outcomes. These are for kids from the class of 2015 that did go directly into the workforce. And what they're separated by is their CTE status. So you'll see here, there are several different statuses you can toggle on. Completers, preparatory, non-preparatory, etc. Each dot here is represented. There are 10 workforce regions in Kentucky. I'm going to click on one of these real quick. So let me find, where are my non-preparatory all? Okay. Hopefully the screen should have just filtered out just the ones that are non-preparatory all. So they should be a series of blue dots. Okay. These are the 10 different workforce regions in Kentucky. So this is EKSEP, West Kentucky, Northern Kentucky, etc. What this is showing, these are non-preparatory all. These are kids that kind of participated in CTE. Basically, they became an explorer, or they took no CTE at all. So they took like one course or no courses. These are the workforce outcomes for those kids from the class of 2015 in terms of their employment rate and their median wage. You will notice, unfortunately, these kids are toward the lower left-hand quadrant, which means they're employed at a slightly lower rate and they're making less in median wage income, okay? Now, I'm gonna toggle off of that, and real quick, I'm gonna kind of stack the deck here, completer with work-based learning. Okay, these are kids that completed a pathway from the class of 2015 that had a work-based learning experience, like co-op, internship, school-based enterprise, something along that line. You'll notice not all, but many are toward the upper right-hand quadrant, which is where you want to be. These kids are employed at a higher rate and make a greater median wage, regardless of workforce region. If you were to compare workforce region to workforce region, the completer kids are going to make more. Okay, now that's not everything. That's not saying that that's the only thing that drives, moves the needle, but you would have to say there is a correlation here between kids participating more greatly in CTE and their eventual outcomes. That's a really powerful point, by the way. Like if you're trying to show this to parents and why CTE programs are important in your school, these are dollars and cents, okay? These are kids making money in Kentucky based upon that they completed more CTE than their peers did, okay? So, and I hate to jump around because there's just a ton of stuff on here that we can go over, but we have a very brief amount of time together. So one other thing I wanted to show you on this report is the third tab, what's called the training locations. This is really neat. So I'm going to click on that. And what this is going to do is allow you to filter by workforce region. LWA is local workforce region, local workforce. You can toggle by pathway, by type of school. So if you want to see high schools or area technology centers, or whatever the case may be, or if you want to look at a school itself. So this is every school in the bluegrass region of Kentucky that is offering career and technical education, okay? I'm going to choose a school here. So let's say you're from, I'm just going to pick the first one. So let me Okay, let's see, it's spinning. Let me get, of course it's gonna spin. Okay, well, if it, here we go. Let's choose Anderson County High School. And that's gonna take just a second to pop up, and then it's gonna show on the map. And it's a very wide range, it shows surrounding states, but hopefully you all are seeing that. The dot there is Anderson County High School. It's in the Bluegrass region. Now, this is the really cool piece of this report in this particular tab. If you look at the bottom here, it is connecting the pathways that are available at Anderson County High School and the demand for the jobs that crosswalk to those pathways that are available at Anderson County High School. So this is the demand for the careers in the Bluegrass region for the pathways and the careers that are connected to those pathways at Anderson County High School, listed by high skill, middle skill, and low skill occupations. Low skill, by the way, does not mean it's not a skilled occupation. It just means the amount of education needed to qualify for that particular occupation. So you can see things like, industrial engineers, general and operations managers, heavy tractor trailer drivers. That's an enormous, I just hear this stuff every day. It's an enormous need in our communities. But that's really neat. Like at the school level, it's connecting what you have with future demand for careers that are connected to your pathways. So let's take that. Okay. So we have that. And you have all the jobs there. And I don't have time to do this justice, but what you would do is then go to, well, if it'll let me. Okay, and hopefully y'all let me know if this toggled the Kentucky Future Skills Report.
Mm-hmm.
It did. Okay. Sorry
Yes.
to keep asking. Just want to make
No,
sure.
you're good. I got you.
So what you would do once you got to this report, okay, is look at the future demand tab, and you would search by Bluegrass region. And then that's going to actually filter it down to just the Bluegrass region. Now, it's not going to allow you to choose Anderson County, unfortunately, but it will allow you to choose the region of Kentucky that Anderson County is in. And so what that's going to do, well, if it would go, and there we go, Bluegrass overview. It's going to give you future demand, future openings, etc. And at the bottom, you're going to see a very similar graph to what you saw in the CTE feedback report. This is, again, this would take time to dig into, but if you see all the dots there, that represents demand for all careers within the Bluegrass region. So ideally, if I were a leader of a school, I would want to see, do the careers that I'm preparing my kids for in my school connect to my particular region? And you may say, well, why am I just looking at this region? Why don't I look at other parts of the state, or why don't I look outside of the state? Most kids, if you look at it, they all say they want to leave, but most kids end up settling very close to where they grew up. Now, that's not saying all, but as a rule, if you look at patterns in Kentucky, most kids end up staying, and I don't have a percentage next to it, I'm speaking really off the cuff, but many do stay very close to where they grew up. So it would be very important to prepare kids for future demand, what's going to be in demand for that particular region, 5-10 years in the future when they're in the workforce. So really, really cool resources out there, guys. Okay. Again, I could spend a whole hour just on this, but let's look at some others. And I feel like I'm not doing it justice, but let's go back to the PowerPoint real quick. Okay, let's share that. And let's look at this slide. Okay. This is just very quick. We'll talk about this and we'll move on. I just wanted to show, and it's slightly off center. This doesn't look as how I wanted it to. Like concentrator enrollments. These are our program areas in CTE. So agriculture, business, family consumer sciences, health science, etc. These are the number of concentrator enrollments from last school year. So a concentrator enrollment is and if you all aren't familiar with the lingo of CTE, a concentrator is somebody that's completed 2 courses or 2 credits in a pathway. That's the number of enrollments we have by program area. So for instance, let's find one that's, okay, so health science, for example, we have 11,700 plus concentrator students, a lot of them in pre-nursing, allied health, all sorts of pathways that are available in that particular program area. You'll see only 412 kids are co-oping or participating in work-based learning. I'm trying to circle back around to what I looked at. The very first chart we looked at with workforce outcomes, completer and work-based learning seems to be the special sauce, where kids are seeing great success after high school is a combination of those two things. So concentrator kids, you're getting them to completer status. They're well on their way there. If you could also somehow pair it with a co-op or an internship or some form of work-based learning, you're really setting that kid up for success. So that's just my plug for that we have about, I think it's about 7% of concentrators. You could do the math, 4,500 divided by 67,000. Yeah, I want to say it's 7 or 8%, 6, 7, 8% of kids are getting out there and getting into co-op and getting into work-based learning. That's just, again, my plug. Try to get those kids into those experiences. I know it's easier said than done. It's not just like you snap your fingers and they have a co-op. It's a lot of work behind that, but it's definitely worthwhile to do. Moving on, I just have 2 more systems I want to look at. So I do want to make sure we have time to look at this one. This is neat. This is one of my favorite ones. This is the employer connector tool I talked about, where it's geocoded. Employers can search by zip code and they can see the number of kids that are eligible to co-op. So this also helps what we just talked about. So not only the school pushing it, but employers in the community can use this tool and say, hey, I have a school right down the road that has X number of kids that are eligible to come co-op for me. So let's, I'm going to stop sharing, or here, let's end it, stop sharing. And sorry for all the reshares here, but I just want to make sure y'all are able to see these. Okay, let's share. And can you give me a thumbs up if y'all can see? Awesome. Okay. Again, the best way to search by this one, I'm going to use my zip code as an example. I live in Louisville, so this is 40206 is my zip code. And I'm going to search by that. Okay. All right, now I'm going to further filter this. Well, shoot, here, hold on one second. Let me put in my zip and let's select, you can search by several things, but what I want to search for here, and I'm sorry, I know it's probably a little small on your screen. I'm going to search by total co-op eligible students. Okay. So, and then I'm going to select a sector. So let's say I am in, here, let's see. Say I'm in healthcare and social assistance. I'm some form of, I don't know, rehab. I'm looking for kids maybe in allied health. They're studying allied health. So let's actually look at allied health. Okay. So what you will see here, 40206, I'm searching by healthcare, health science, allied health. I know specifically what I'm looking for, this type of kid. What this is going to tell you, and I'm scrolling down, you've got several schools in Louisville. You've got Central High School, Moore High School, Butler, Wagner, J-Town, Atherton, Seneca. So you got your pick of the litter here in an area, like Louisville, and it has the number of co-op eligible students specific to that area. So you could go to Central High School and say, hey, I see you have a very large number of kids that are far along in their health science pathway. Might any of them be interested in co-oping? So it's kind of putting the onus on the business. Okay. We always think it's so much pressure on the school. And I was a teacher, I was a CTE teacher previously. I know it's a lot of pressure to go out there and recruit and all that sort of deal. And you still should be doing that. But it's also something to share with your employers, maybe you work with on your advisory committees and so on, to say, hey, this tool's out there. You can search our community and see if there are kids. And there are many great kids out there that are itching to get out there and get some experience. So I just really wanted to put in a plug for that. And again, this is another tool I could spend half an hour on, but I know we have till 9:50. So, and if you all want me to share this presentation, I know it's being taped as well or recorded. So feel free to go back to that, or if you all want to get in touch with me, that's obviously great as well. just one more slide here. And let's share. Okay, and from current. All right, last one I want to talk about is the Kentucky Students' Right to Know. That is the website right there. This one's not specific to CTE necessarily, but I think this is a real service that they've provided here. This was released actually, I think in 21. They refreshed it in June 2022, so it's fairly recently refreshed. All on one sheet. There's no tabs. So let me show you what this particular resource looks like if you've not seen it. One more time. Share my screen. Okay. All righty. So this is the interface. This is what you're going to see. And with this, the question this answers, and that I think is really important is, you know, say you're in a CTE program and your student wants to go to college here in Kentucky. If I am a parent, I have 2 young children, so they're not college age yet. But if I were getting ready to shell out tens of thousands of dollars, I'd want to say, okay, you want to major in this. How are kids that majored in this at this specific school, how are they faring? So how are they graduating? Are they making it to the end? Once they graduate, are they getting jobs in Kentucky? How much is it paying? So this is a really cool resource to show for return on investment for particular programs at post-secondary institutions. So you can search several ways. You can search by basically all majors. You can get really you know, in the weeds. I like searching by the top 60. So these are the top 60 most popular majors in post-secondary institutions in Kentucky. And you know what? Let's just, for sake of, to make this easy, let's just leave it on accounting. So this is on accounting, okay? And this is going to give you everything you'd ever want to know about accounting, about future demand for accounting, how much they're paying, how quickly the kids are getting out of school, and so on. So let's kind of scroll down here. So these are the top occupations by average annual openings for the selected major. So if you're going into accounting, some jobs you could hope to attain at the end: accountants and auditors, financial risk specialists, tax preparers, etc. It's giving you the projected annual openings. You'll see by the blue bar here, accountants and auditors has by far the most openings. I love the way they do this. They do early, mid, and late career. I can't tell you how many kids, when I used to go to resources not as good as this, but like this, they would want to go directly to that late career. They would look at the top end of that particular career. Well, as you all well know, a 22-year-old kid or coming out of school, if you have that degree, they're probably not giving you, they're probably not going to pay you at the top end of the scale. So, you know, having to work your way up to that. But even so, early career salary, roughly about $50,000 in Kentucky, right out of school. Not bad, not bad. This is going to show what public institutions offer this. So all the big schools are going to offer this: Eastern, Murray, UK, U of L, Northern, Moorhead, Western, all of your big 4-year post-secondaries. In addition to your KCTCS institutions are going to have this as well. But let's say, you know, you want to major in accounting and you want to go to UK. We'll leave this on UK. This is going to give you specific institution cost. So it's going to give you cost of attendance, in-state, what in-state tuition is, net price. These are actual prices from the University of Kentucky from last school year. It's going to tell you what is their graduation rate. So how many kids are getting through there? So about 68% of kids are graduating with given 6 years. Loan default rate. So kids that are taking loans out, about 4% are defaulting. That is down, thankfully. This gives you percent of change metrics. One thing you'll see here, loan default rate is down 13.8%. That's awesome. This is showing you loan information, how many are receiving loans, the average loan amount. So anything you'd ever want to know about this. And then what's really cool, for this selected major, it's going to tell you how many kids made it out the other end. 185 bachelor, 44 masters, how long it took them to complete. Okay. Data, if it's data unavailable, it's a redaction. There's not enough kids in there to actually, there's too few, in other words. And then it's going to give you again, salaries down here, percent employed in Kentucky, and so on. So I probably didn't do this justice. Again, this is another tool you could spend half an hour on, but I know we're just about out of time, and I see there's some chat there, so I'm going to stop sharing. I guess we have time for a few. Are there questions in the chat that I might be able to answer? Sorry, John. I know I
No,
didn't leave
but
much
oh
time.
no, you're fine. You're fine. A wealth of information for sure. Not questions. Reagan has placed a number of links that you shared
Thank you,
in
Reagan.
the chat, and thank you, Reagan. So if you folks want to grab those, do we have any questions for Scott?
And if not, that's fine
All right.
too.
Yeah, that's terrific. Okay. Well, Scott, thank you so much. A wealth of
Yes, sir.
information. We could probably spend a half a day on this.
I could spend, yeah, exactly. You could spend hours on this one, but these
I
are
know,
great tools.
for sure.
Please utilize them.
Yes.
Please utilize them.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Scott. We have about a 10-minute break before our next round of sessions in this room, and it will be entitled No Points for Second Place, Moving from Disengaged to Engaged, and that's with Mark Webster and Lynette Ward with Bullitt County Schools, middle and high school. So again, Scott, thank you so much for a terrific presentation.
Thank you.
Enjoy a 10-minute break, folks, and we look forward to seeing you back here or go enjoy another session somewhere else.
Okay. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
John, should we stop the recording now? I'm sure you're working on it.